Okay, I will mute my mic here and just go to the thing. All right. Oh, mm, where is it? All right. So I'll start now, I guess. Good morning, everyone. Sabah al khair. Today we are going to be talking about must, mustn't, and don't need to. It's the continuation of our modal verbs. النهارده هنتكلم عن استخدام must و mustn't و don't need to. هي أفعال مساعدة بس ناخد بالنا النهارده عشان بيبقى استخدامها مختلف شوية. So let's look at must. Uh, the the way to use must is we have a subject, then we have must, then we have infinitive, like we have before, like in last week's class. And then, so for example, I, we, you, they, he, she, it. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like the use of may or might. You always have the subject, then may or might. In today's class, it's must, and then the infinitive of the verb. So do, go, see, eat. So, what does must mean? Must means to do something. You have to do something. You need to do something. In Arabic, لازم تعمل حاجة. يجب أن تعمل حاجة. So I must do something means I need to do it. So let's look at the examples. I am very hungry. That means I must eat something. I need to eat something right now. أنا جعان لازم أكل حاجة دلوقتي. It's a fantastic film. You must see it. It's a great movie. You need to see it. الفيلم ده عظيم. يبقى أنت محتاج تشوفه دلوقتي. The windows are very dirty. You must clean them. الشباك مش نظيف. لازم تنظفه. فهو the windows are very dirty. You must clean them or you need to clean them. In the past, we don't say we can't use must in the past. So we use instead had to because must is equivalent to or equal to have to. So the past of have to, had to. I will write it in a bit. So for the past, we say had to. It's so basically, I was very hungry. I had to eat something. And we had to walk home last night. There were no buses. So last night there were no buses and we needed to go home. So we had to go home. So let me put just a quick slide here. So as I was saying, must is equal to have to. لا الاتنين بمعنى لازم. الاتنين بعدهم بيجي. So for both of them, you have the infinitive. Uh, wait, I need to. So after both of them, you have must or have to, then the infinitive, and then the verb. All right. So must and then infinitive of the verb, and then have to, and then the infinitive version of the verb. And in the past, we don't have a past version of must. ما عندناش فعل ماضي من must. So in the past, and like if we are speaking about the past, we only use the past version of have to. What is the past version of have to? Had to. So in the past, it will be had to, and again plus the infinitive, and then the rest of the sentence. And therefore, this is why like we only use had to in the past and not must. Anyway, so we'll continue with the rest of the lesson and then we see the exercises. If we are using mustn't, so must, mustn't, which is must not, it does not mean the opposite of must. So if I say you must go out, means you need to go out. If I say you mustn't go out, it doesn't mean you can't go out. او بالعربي لو هي بالعربي مش معناها ان لازم تعمل كده او لازم ما تعملش كده. So mustn't means you don't have to, and it is the same in Arabic. So if we say the opposite of, let's say in Egyptian we will say لازم, so we will say لازم تعمل كده. لو عملنا النفي بتاعها مش لازم تعمل كده معناها ان انت يعني مش ضروري تعمل كده. So mustn't means you don't have to. It's not necessary to do it. So it doesn't mean you have not to do it. It means you don't have to do it. I must go means I need to go now. I mustn't be late. That I it's not, I can't be late. This so basically means it's not necessary to be late. What? Anyway. I mustn't forget to phone Chris means, oh, sorry, my mistake. In this case, mustn't, uh, I made a mistake. So mustn't here, you can't do this or you need not to do it. So I must go, I mustn't be late means I can't be late. And I mustn't forget means I can't forget. I have to phone Chris. Be happy, you mustn't be sad, you can't be sad. You mustn't touch the pictures. You can touch the pictures. Do not touch the pictures. What I was talking about is if we want to say you don't have to or you don't need to, we don't use mustn't. Sorry, I'm a bit sick and I got confused. Uh, so I don't need to do something means it's not necessary. I don't need to go yet means I can stay a bit longer. I don't have to go now. You don't need to shout. I can hear you. You don't have to be loud, so you don't need to shout. Or you don't have to be loud. You can also say I don't have to, as I was saying. So I don't have to go, I don't need to go, both mean the same thing. So here's the confusing bit that I was confused about earlier. You don't need to go means you can stay if you want, or you can go. You don't need to go. It's up to you. You mustn't go means you cannot go now. You have to stay here. You must stay here. So we have must means you have to do something. Mustn't means you can't do the thing or it is necessary not to do it. And then we have don't need to. It means it is not necessary to do it. You can do it or not. فعندنا must بمعنى لازم. انا هنا لخبطه عشان بالعربي. لازم معناها ان انت لازم تعمل حاجة. mustn't مش معناها مش لازم زي ما في العربي ممكن اقول مش لازم تعمل كده معناها براحتك اعمل كده او لا. And then we have so mustn't معناها مش من الممكن ان انت تعمل كده او بغير استطاعتك ان انت تعمل كده او لا يجب ان تعمل كده. don't need to اللي هي معناها لو بالعربي في مصر ممكن نقول مش لازم تروح الشغل النهارده. You don't need to go to work today. So in Arabic it's a bit different than in English and this is why I was a bit confused. But we will go through some exercises and hopefully it becomes clearer. So exercise 31.1, we complete the sentence and we have a list of verbs. We use must and plus these verbs. It's a fairly straightforward exercise. So number one is already answered. I am very hungry. I must eat something. So we are always using must, and then we are using eat for this particular sentence. Merlin is a very interesting person. You, we have must in all the sentences, so you must, and then be her, go her, know, learn, meet her. So in here it will be you must meet her. So you must meet her. And then the one after, my hands are dirty. I must, because we are always have must, and then we used meet, so wash. Especially these days, you must wash your hands. So I must wash them. Then the next one, you must something to drive. It would be very useful. We out of the verbs we have here, we used wash, we used meet, we used eat. So it makes sense to use learn here. You must learn how to drive. All right. And then I must something shopping. We know the verb for shopping, it's always go shopping. So I must go shopping. Uh, and I need to buy some food. The the game is very important to us. We must win because it's an important game. So we must win. You can't always have things immediately. You must, and then so you must. The last one we have, you must be patient. Patient, which means in Arabic صبور أو لازم تبقى عندك صبر. You must be patient. Patient also means a sick person. So if we use it, you must be a patient. If we use it just as an adjective, then it means you can wait. You are a patient person. If we use it as a noun, a patient means a sick person. Okay, exercise 31.2. We are using I must or I had to. So in this case, I must will always be in the present or future. I had to will be in the past. So we look at the sentence and we see which one is it. First one, I had to walk home last night. There were no buses. So the key words that tell us the what to use is last night and there were. So that tells us sentences in the past, and then we have to use I had to. And then the next one, it is late. I, and then we have it is late now, it is present tense, and so we will use must. So I must go now because it's in the present. Um, and then I don't usually work on Saturdays, but last Saturday I something to work. So here, in the first part, it's something indicates a habit, it's present tense, but we are talking about last Saturday. So last Saturday, that's in the past. So I had to. So I had to work. Get up early tomorrow. I have a lot to do. So we are talking about tomorrow. So that's in the future. And as I said, with must, we with the future or the present, we use must. So in this case, it will be I must get up early tomorrow. I have a lot to do. Then the next one, I came here by train. The train was full and something to stand all the way. So I came here by train. That tells us it's came is in past tense of come. So, and the train was full. So basically, our sentence is in the past tense. So we use here I had to stand all the way. I was nearly late for my appointment this morning. Run to get in time. So I was, it's a sentence in the past, and basically it's in the past. I had to run to get there in time. So I had to run to get there in time. I forgot to phone David yesterday. I something phone him later today. So the first part is past tense because it's forgotten yesterday, but we're talking about later today. So I'm going to do something later today. It indicates future. So we will use I must here. I must phone him later today. Yes. Yes. So there is a question there. Somebody asked I had to, if I had to, is the past simple? And yes, it is. Because the present simple I have to, it's in the present simple. Our main verb in both of this is have. So in the past, we're not using it like as a helping verb or anything like this. So this is our main verb in the present, or if it indicates if it's in the present, I have. In the past, I had. Um, Maybe you can even say I will have to, but people don't usually use it to indicate the future. So if it's in the past, I had to. If it is something I want to do, I have to. So something in the coming up, something in the future. So yes, it is past simple. All right. If you have any questions, please ask, and then I will go to the next exercise, 31.3. So for these sentences, we have a list of verbs, and then we need to use either mustn't or don't need to. So mustn't means you can't. You absolutely can't. Like it is necessary. You don't do this. Don't need to means you can or you cannot. Maybe you shouldn't, but it's fine. Like you don't need to. As you said, it's not necessary to do it. So the first one, this is our list of verbs here. I don't need to go home yet. I can stay a little longer. So basically, somebody is hanging with their friends, they're having fun, and they can or cannot go home. They can stay a bit longer, it's fine. So they can say, "Oh, I don't need to go home yet." If they say, "I mustn't go home yet," it means, "Oh, I can't go home now. There's absolutely no way I can go home now." But it's not the meaning that we're looking for, so I can stay a little longer. Um, the next sentence. So here we use this one. We have a lot of time. We don't need to or mustn't. So let's look at the verb first. We have forget, lose, phone, rush, wait. Rush means to be in a hurry. يعني نسرع في ان احنا نمشي او حاجة زي كده. But we have a lot of time. It's fine. Like we don't need to rush. So in here it will be we don't need to rush because we have a lot of time, so it's fine. All right. And then in the next one, we have keep these papers in a safe place. You something them. So forget, lose, phone, wait. So these are very important papers, and it is important that you have them, that you don't lose them. So because it's very important, and the guy is saying keep it in a safe place, we will use must not. So you mustn't. Okay. You mustn't lose them. And then the next one, I'm not ready yet, but you something wait for me. You can go now, I will come later. So the rest of the sentence, well, tells us what we need. The second sentence, you can go now, I'll come later. So you can wait, or you can go now and I'll come later because it's not necessary. So we use I don't, you don't need to. So here you okay, you don't need to, and then wait is our verb here. All right. So we used here wait, and then we have two more verbs to go, so two more sentences. We to turn off the lights before we leave. So we are going out and we want to turn off the lights. So we don't want to forget to turn off the lights. So we don't want, it's necessary that we don't forget it. So we use we mustn't instead of we don't need to. Because if we don't need to means we can leave them on, we can leave them off, it's fine. We don't really need to do anything. But in here we want to turn them off, so we mustn't forget them to save a bit of energy. So we mustn't forget to turn off the lights before we leave. Then the last one, I must contact David, but I something him. I can send him an email. So I need to be in touch with David. I can phone him because this is the verb we have, or I can send him an email. So it's not necessary that I phone him because I can send him an email. So in this case, we will use I don't need to. So in here will be I don't need to phone him because I can send him an email. So here we used phone. So if you have any questions, please ask. لو عندكم أي أسئلة يا ريت تسألوا. All right. Then exercise 31.4. Yes. Mhm. So somebody's asking if we can say uh, we haven't. We haven't to. Somebody's asking, can we say we haven't to? And the answer is no, because have, or it's our main verb here, if, and it's in the present simple. So this is not correct. If we want to use the negative version, we do it similar to what we're doing in any present simple. We don't have to. So basically, we don't have to. So it's the same as any present simple sentence. Have is our verb. If we want to negate it, if we want to use the negative version of it, we use don't, or doesn't if it is an individual that has does. So he doesn't have to. So the in we don't have to, the positive version of it will be we have to. He doesn't have to. The non-negated version, the positive version of it is he has to. So yes, in the past as well, we use the same thing. So what's the negative version of I had to? I didn't have to. So in the past, we treat it as a normal past simple sentence, and then if we have if we want to negate it, then we use didn't. Our assisting verb, our helping verb here is do, does, and didn't. It's not have. Have is our main verb here. All right. So I will go to exercise 31.4, and please ask if you have any more questions. So we have a list of sentences and then we want to match the sentences with the same meaning. So here, number one, we can leave the meeting early. So we must stay until the end, we couldn't stay until the end, we can't stay until the end, we can stay until the end, we don't need to stay until the end. So we can leave the meeting early means we can stay, we can go. Basically, we don't need to stay until the end. There's nothing that tells us that we have to go now. There's nothing tell us we cannot go now. So we don't need to go. We don't need to stay. All right. We must, the second one will be we must leave the meeting early. So we must leave the meeting early. We absolutely must. This is something necessary that we leave. So means, let's look at the sentence. We must stay until the end means we have to stay. That's opposite of what we are saying. We are saying we have to go early. We couldn't stay until the end means, yeah, that that's something in the past. We couldn't. But here, this is something in the present or future, like something in the present tense. So we can't use we couldn't. We can't stay until the end. So this means we cannot stay until the end. It is necessary to leave before the end, which is what the sentence means. The sentence we must leave the meeting early. من لازم ان احنا نسيب الاجتماع بدري. معناها ان احنا مش من الممكن we can't نستنى لحد الآخر. So here this will be our answer. We can't stay until the end means it's up to us, but here we must leave it. We use the word must. So let's look at the next one, number 3. We mustn't leave the meeting early. We must not leave the meeting early. It means it is necessary not to leave. So it is necessary to stay So we mustn't leave the meeting early. That means we must stay until the end. And then we can't stay until the end. We can't stay until the end. All of them are, the rest are wrong. It means we mustn't leave the meeting early means we must stay. So the opposite of leave, so we must not leave. The opposite of leave is stay, so not leave will mean stay here. All right, let's look at the next one. We have to leave the meeting early. We had to leave the meeting early. So first of all, we had means it's something in the past. So we will have to use couldn't. That's an easy thing to say. So basically, we can't use must because it's the past. We can't say can't because it's in the past. So easily we look here and we check that the tense, and the tense is correct. It's a past tense as well. And we also check the meaning. We couldn't stay until the end. So we couldn't stay until the end. In the past, we couldn't stay until the end. So we had to leave the meeting early. So in the past, we left the meeting early because we couldn't stay until the end. كان لازم نسيب الاجتماع بدري عشان ما كانش ينفع نقعد لحد الآخر. All right, the last one. We don't need to leave the meeting early. So we don't need to means it's not necessary. Once you have you don't need, we know that we cannot use must because must or mustn't means you have to. It's necessary. But you don't need to means you can or you cannot. It's fine. Couldn't, it's the wrong tense because it's in the past. Could is in the past. So we look here. We can't stay until the end. That means can't stay. We can't stay until the end means we have to leave. We cannot stay here until the end. So it's not the meaning we're looking for. We don't need to leave the meeting early means we can stay or we can leave. So here, this is the sentence that is the correct answer. We can stay until the end because we don't need to leave the meeting early. Therefore, we can stay until the end. So we can stay until the end. It's fine if we stay because we don't need to leave the meeting early. All right. Then this is the end of exercise 31.4. We will go to exercise 31.5, where we use must, mustn't, had to, don't need to. So must the and had to, the difference between must and had to will be the sentence, whether it's in the present or future, it will be must, and whether it's in the past, it will be had to. Mustn't means it is necessary you don't do this, so you cannot do it. Don't need to means it is you cannot do it. It's optional. It's fine. So we'll look at the sentences and see which one we can use. Uh, just a second. You don't need to go. You can stay here if you want. So the rest of the sentence, first of all, it's in the present, so you can stay if you want. So it's up to you if you want. It's not necessary that you go or you stay. So this is why we used I don't need to go. All right, let's go to the next one. It is a fantastic film. You something see it. So it's a great movie. You need to see it. It's necessary that you see it. So in this case, we will use must. You must see it because out of all the options, this is the one that corresponds to the most. So we can't use mustn't because I'm saying it's a good movie. You need to see it. And I can't say you had to because this is not in the past. And I can't use you don't need to because I'm just telling you it's a good movie. You have to see it. So you must see it. It is a good movie, Shawshank Redemption. You all need to see it. Um, the restaurant won't be busy tonight. We reserve a table. So we are going to a restaurant and we can reserve a table. However, the restaurant is not busy because there are not a lot of people in outside today. So we can reserve or we cannot. It's not necessary to reserve a table. In this case, it will be we don't need to. So we don't need to reserve a table. Okay, and then the next one. I was very busy last week. I work every evening. So I was very busy. So it is I had like there's a lot of work. I needed to do it. It was necessary to do it. So it's something necessary. So it's must or had to. And then we look at the sentence, I was last week. So it is in the past. So if it is in the past, we use I had to because must is not used in the past. So I had to work every evening. All right. And then the last one, I want to know what happened. You tell me. So something happened and I I need to know it. It's necessary that I know it. So I it's in the present. I want. So it's not you had to. In this case, it will be you must. You must tell me. We cannot say you don't need to tell me. If we want to use you don't need to tell me, it will be a different sentence. It will be you trying to be cool and saying, I don't want to know what happened. You don't need to tell me. But actually, you want to know. Anyway, so I want to know what happened. You must tell me because I want to know. The next one, I don't want Sue to know what happened. So Sue cannot know what happened. It is necessary that Sue doesn't know what happened. So in this case, you mustn't tell her. So you must not tell her what happened because I don't want her to know. I go now or I will be late for my appointment. So I have an appointment that I need to go for right now. So it is necessary that I go because I have an appointment. In this case, it will be must or had to because it's necessary. But because it's in the future, I will be late, something that's happening in the future or in the like affecting something in the future, I must go now because I must go now in the present. I must go now. So I must go now. This is because of now, we don't use I had to. The next one, why were you so late? I wait half an hour for a bus. So I am late and because it was necessary to wait for the bus. And because it was necessary, either it's must or had to. So it's must or had to because it's necessary. Let's look at the tense. Were you? So were you me indicating something in the past? Why were you late? So we use I had to in this case. So I had to wait half an hour for a bus. All right. And then the one before the last, we decide now. We can decide later. So It is not necessary that we decide now. We can decide later. It's we can do it. It's up to us. So we don't need to decide now because we can decide later. So we don't need to decide now. We can decide later. The last one, it is Lisa's birthday next week. I forget to buy her a present. Hmm? Oh, so Lisa's birthday is coming up next week, and I need to buy her a present. It's necessary that I buy her a present. So I don't want to forget. So because it's something necessary and I don't want to forget, so it's a negative. So it's must not or mustn't. So in this case, it will be must not forget to buy her a present. So it is Lisa's birthday. I mustn't forget to buy her a present. That's the last thing we have today. If you have any questions, please write them. I will give you a bit of time. If not, then that will be all. ده آخر جملة عندنا، آخر exercise عندنا النهاردة. لو عندكم أي أسئلة يا ريت تكتبوها وأحاول أجاوبكم عليها. لو ما كانش يبقى ده آخر حاجة النهاردة. Okay, so there are some questions coming. I'm waiting for the questions. I'm not just staying here drinking my coffee. Mhm. I will try to look at it as well. Ah, yes. So again, we have a question here. To ask a question about these things, what do you do? So we treat it as a normal present simple. So we can have, let's say, if we have a normal present simple sentence, I go to school every day. The question for it would be, do you go to school? Do you, do you go to school every day? The same for have to. So if we if we are using have to, it's in the present tense, or had to, it's in the past tense. We use the assisting verbs, or helping verbs, do and does and didn't and did. So do you, like, let's say I have to go to school every day. To ask this, do you have to go to school every day? That's in the present, or that's a present simple. If the sentence was in the past, I had to go to school, and then the question would be, did you? And again, our verb here is have. It becomes in the infinitive because we already used did and do here. did you have to go to school? Uh, so yeah, we just treat it as a normal, like present simple if it's I have to, past simple if I had to, and we treat it the same way in questions. If we're asking a question, like yes or no question, so do, don't, does, do, did, and stuff like this. Future, the same thing for the future. So we can say, um, let's say, will, uh, will you have to go to school tomorrow? So in this case, I'm asking if you have to go to school tomorrow. Um, and again, it's a future tense. So use it the same. So I will go to supermarket tomorrow. Will you go to the supermarket tomorrow? I will have to go to work on Wednesday. The question for it, will you have to go to work on Wednesday? So yes, you treat it as simple as the other tenses. Past, continuous, and present perfect. Uh, so in this case, it you can have past continuous or something. You can have, sorry, you can have past continuous, but it's not our main tense, if that makes any sense. So I I can say I can say I it's not used very often, but in a conversation I can say I had a lot of work last week, so I had to be working the whole day. But it's not necessarily correct. I don't know if it's correct grammatically, but you can say it in conversation. But instead, sim I had to work the whole day. That's it. And like there's have and like have itself have to. I don't think it comes with like present continuous or past continuous. I will have to check about this, but as far as I know, I don't think it comes in this way. Um, so that's that. Um, so any more questions? All right. I think that's it for today. Um, I'll go. Just before I go, because I promised I will say it to a friend of mine from here. Happy birthday to Marian. And that's it for me today. That's the end of the class today. And then see you tomorrow, people, or talk to you tomorrow. And if you have any questions after you watch the video, please don't hesitate to ask as well tomorrow. And we finish a bit earlier, so we have time to answer questions from past sessions as well. So it's not always about this session of the day. All right. Have a good weekend and talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye. Assalamu.